Do you know what steals more dreams than failure? Overthinking. It's that quiet voice that says, what if I mess up? What if they judge me? What if I'm not enough? And before you know it, you've lived the same moment 100 times in your mind, but never once in real life. Let me tell you something powerful. You can stop that storm in less than 2 minutes. Here's the truth: the mind can't focus on fear and gratitude at the same time. The next time your thoughts start spinning, take a deep breath, place your hand on your heart, and ask yourself one question. What am I grateful for right now? It sounds simple, but in that moment your brain switches. You move from anxiety to awareness. You stop being a prisoner of your past and a victim of your future. You come home to this moment, right here, right now. Do it for 2 minutes. 2 minutes of deep breathing. 2 minutes of feeling your heartbeat. 2 minutes of focusing on what's real instead of what's imagined. Because when you return to the present, your power returns with you. Every great decision, every peaceful moment, every breakthrough you've ever had came from a place of stillness, not panic. So then the next time overthinking starts to rise, don't fight it. Just pause, breathe, and choose gratitude. That's not escaping your thoughts, that's mastering them. And when you master your mind, you master your life. Overthinking steals your time and energy because it traps you in a loop of endless mental noise that never leads to action. It is one of the most silent destroyers of peace, productivity, and happiness. When you overthink, you are living inside your head instead of living your life. You replay the same conversation, analyze every detail, and predict every possible outcome. You convince yourself that you're preparing or protecting yourself, but what you're really doing is draining your strength. Overthinking doesn't solve problems, it multiplies them. It keeps you stuck between what you could have done and what you might do, leaving no room for what you can do right now. Every time you overthink, you spend precious energy on situations that may never happen. You invest emotion into fears that don't even exist yet. That's why overthinking feels exhausting. It's not the problem itself that tires you. It's the constant mental replay of it. Your brain becomes a battlefield where doubts, fears, and regrets collide. You start questioning every choice you've made and worrying about every choice you haven't made. You hesitate to move forward because you're too busy imagining everything that could go wrong. Slowly, you lose the confidence to act and the clarity to see your path. Imagine holding a small pebble in your hand. It seems light and harmless at first, but if you keep holding it for hours, your arm begins to itch. The weight didn't change, only the time you carried it did. That's what overthinking does. It makes small worries feel heavier the longer you hold on to them. What starts as a simple concern turns into a burden that weighs down your heart and mind. You begin to feel trapped inside your own thoughts, unable to rest, unable to let go. And the longer you carry that weight, the harder it becomes to focus on what truly matters. Overthinking often disguises itself as preparation. You tell yourself you're just thinking things through, that you're being responsible, that you need to be sure before making a move. But there's a difference between planning and worrying. Planning is focused, productive, and time limited. Worrying is endless, scattered, and emotional. Planning prepares you for the future. Worrying keeps you trapped in fear. The more you overthink, the less you trust your instincts. You stop listening to that quiet inner voice that says, you can handle this. Instead, you listen to the voice of doubt that says, you're not ready. The energy you waste overthinking could be used to create, to act, to move forward. Every thought you repeat without action is energy lost. Overthinking drains not only your mental strength, but also your emotional balance. It affects your sleep, your mood, and your ability to focus. It makes small issues feel huge and simple tasks seem impossible. And the saddest part is that most of the things you worry about never even happen. Studies show that more than 90% of our fears never come true. Yet, overthinking convinces you that danger is everywhere, that you must be ready for everything, and that you can't rest until you figure it all out. The truth is, peace doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from trusting yourself to handle whatever comes next. The more you trust your ability to respond, the less you'll feel the need to control everything through thought. Letting go of overthinking doesn't mean being careless. It means being present. It means choosing to act instead of analyzing endlessly. The moment you decide to stop replaying and start responding, you begin to reclaim your energy. Life isn't meant to be lived inside your head. It's meant to be experienced, felt, and enjoyed. When you stop overthinking, you make room for creativity, peace, and clarity. You start to see that action brings understanding, not the other way around. Every step forward brings more answers than hours of thought ever could. Overthinking steals your time and energy, but awareness, courage, and trust can take it back. The key is to breathe and begin. Because once you do, your mind will quiet, your energy will return, and your life will finally move again. Awareness is the doorway to transformation. Nothing changes until you recognize what's happening inside your own mind. When you begin to notice your thoughts, really notice them, you take the first and most powerful step toward freedom. Most people are not living their lives consciously. They are being driven by their automatic thoughts, patterns, and fears that run on repeat. Overthinking is not something that suddenly happens. It's a habit that grows quietly, thought by thought, until it becomes your default state. But here's the truth: the moment you become aware of that habit, you've already started breaking it. Awareness means catching yourself in the act of overthinking before it pulls you under. It's the moment when you hear that small inner voice saying, "What if I fail?" or "What if they don't like me?" And instead of letting it spiral, you pause and simply say to yourself, "See you, thought." That simple acknowledgement separates you from it. It creates a tiny gap between the thinker and the thought, and in that gap, your power begins to return. That's where your freedom lies. When you are unaware, thoughts control you. They run wild, pulling your attention toward fear, regret, and imaginary scenarios that never come true. You start reacting instead of responding, doubting instead of deciding, worrying instead of living. But awareness changes everything. It brings light to the darkness of your inner noise. Think of awareness like a lamp in a dark room. The moment you turn it on, confusion disappears, and you can finally see things as they are. Every time you pause and observe your thinking, you weaken the grip of overthinking. It's not about fighting your thoughts or trying to silence them. It's about watching them with calm curiosity. Awareness says, "I don't need to judge this thought. I just need to notice it." That simple noticing shifts you from being inside the storm to watching it from outside. You stop drowning in your emotions and start floating above them, steady and clear. Let's be honest, awareness takes practice. You won't master it in a day. Your mind will still wander, your thoughts will still race, and your doubts will still whisper. But each time you catch yourself and come back, you grow stronger. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice awareness, the more powerful your mental clarity becomes. Soon, you'll find that the same situations that once triggered endless overthinking no longer have that hold on you. Why? Because you can see them for what they are, just temporary thoughts, passing clouds in a vast sky. Awareness doesn't mean you'll never overthink again. It means that when overthinking starts, you'll recognize it early enough to stop it before it takes over. It gives you a choice to stay trapped in your thoughts or to step into the present moment. That choice is everything. It's the difference between being a victim of your mind and being the master of it. When awareness becomes a daily practice, life begins to feel lighter. You no longer react to every fear. You respond with understanding. You no longer chase perfection. You embrace progress. You start to live with intention, knowing that every moment of awareness brings you closer to peace. Remember, the first step to stop overthinking isn't about controlling your thoughts. It's about seeing them clearly. Awareness is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning. It's the quiet awakening of your inner strength, the gentle whisper that says, "You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them." And once you understand that, overthinking no longer has the power to own you. You have the power to rise above it. Gratitude interrupts anxiety because it shifts the focus of the mind from fear to appreciation, from scarcity to abundance, and from worry to peace. The human brain is not capable of feeling anxious and grateful at the same time. The moment you begin to focus on what you are thankful for, your mental state changes. Fear loosens its grip, your breathing slows, and your thoughts begin to calm. Gratitude is not just an emotion. It is a tool, a practice, and a state of awareness that instantly transforms the energy within you. Anxiety lives in the future, feeding on what-ifs and uncertainty, while gratitude lives in the present, reminding you of what is good and real right now. When anxiety takes over, your mind starts to race in every direction. It creates stories about what could go wrong and plays out endless scenarios that may never happen. You begin to imagine problems that do not yet exist and exhaust yourself trying to solve them. Anxiety whispers that something is missing, that you are not safe, not ready, or not enough. But gratitude speaks a different language. It says, you already have something beautiful right here. It reminds you that peace is not found by controlling life, but by appreciating it. Gratitude does not erase the challenges, but it gives you strength to face them with courage instead of fear. Think of a moment when your thoughts felt heavy, when you were consumed by worry or stress. Now imagine pausing for a single breath and asking yourself, what is one thing I can be grateful for right now? Maybe it is the warmth of sunlight, the comfort of your bed, the sound of laughter, or even the strength that got you through your hardest days. That one small moment of recognition changes everything. It brings you back from the storm of your thoughts into the calm of your heart. Gratitude acts like a bridge that carries you out of anxiety and back into presence. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be honest. Anxiety grows stronger when you focus on what you lack. Gratitude grows when you focus on what you already have. It's a shift in perspective that has the power to heal. The truth is, life will always give you both reasons to stress and reasons to smile. Which one you choose to focus on determines the quality of your experience. Gratitude is a conscious choice to look at life through a lens of appreciation rather than fear. Every time you express gratitude, you are training your mind to see abundance instead of scarcity, possibilities instead of problems. Slowly, anxiety loses its control because your attention is no longer feeding it. Science has proven that gratitude changes the chemistry of the brain. It releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals that make you feel happy, peaceful, and fulfilled. When practiced regularly, gratitude rewires your neural pathways, making calmness your new default state. It teaches your nervous system to relax and your heart to trust. When anxiety says, "You're not ready," gratitude replies, "You've made it this far." But when anxiety says, "You can't handle this," gratitude answers, "Look how much you already have." It is not denial, it is strength. Gratitude does not ignore pain. It transforms it into perspective. The beautiful thing about gratitude is that it requires nothing external. You don't have to wait for everything to be perfect to feel thankful. You can begin right where you are. With whatever you have, you can write down 3 things each morning that make you feel grateful, or pause during stressful moments and whisper, "Thank you." Each time you do, anxiety fades a little more. Gratitude is the pause button that stops the rush of overthinking and invites peace to return. It centers your heart, clears your mind, and reminds you that even in uncertainty, there is still beauty to be found. Gratitude is not about ignoring what's wrong. It's about remembering what's right. It teaches you to live with appreciation, not fear, and to find light even in difficult times. When you choose gratitude, you are choosing freedom. You are choosing to live in the moment, to trust yourself, and to find calm in chaos. Gratitude interrupts anxiety because it reconnects you to the truth that life is not just about surviving. It's about noticing, feeling, and celebrating what's already good. And when you begin to do that every day, peace becomes your natural state, and anxiety no longer has the power to control you. The 2-minute reset is a simple yet powerful practice that can stop overthinking instantly and restore calm within moments. It works because it brings your awareness back to the present, the only place where peace truly exists. When your mind starts racing, when doubts begin to rise, and when you feel that familiar pressure in your chest, all you need is 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes of conscious breathing, mindful awareness, and gratitude can completely shift your emotional state. It doesn't require special training, equipment, or preparation. It only asks for your attention. Those short moments, when practiced with intention, become the bridge between chaos and clarity. When we overthink, our minds pull us into the future or drag us back into the past. We replay what went wrong or worry about what could go wrong next. Our breathing becomes shallow, our heart rate quickens, and our focus scatters. That's when the 2-minute reset comes in as a mental rescue. It is not about suppressing thoughts, but about grounding yourself in the now. You begin by pausing whatever you are doing. You close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and place your hand over your heart. Feel it beating. That rhythm is proof that you are here, alive and safe in this moment. As you breathe, imagine your thoughts slowly floating away like clouds in the sky. Each inhale fills you with calm, and each exhale releases tension. You don't have to fight your thoughts. You simply watch them pass. The act of slowing your breath signals to your nervous system that you are not in danger, even if your mind tries to convince you otherwise. Within seconds, your body begins to relax, your shoulders drop, and your heart rate stabilizes. The storm that once felt overwhelming starts to quiet down because you have taken control of your focus. The next step of the 2-minute reset is to bring gratitude into your awareness. As you continue to breathe, think of one thing, just one, that you are grateful for. It could be something simple, like the warmth of sunlight, the sound of music, or the fact that you woke up today. Focus on that single feeling of appreciation and let it fill you. Gratitude changes your vibration instantly. It tells your brain to stop focusing on fear and start noticing peace. It interrupts anxiety, clears mental fog, and replaces tension with calm strength. What makes this practice powerful is not its complexity, but its consistency. 2 minutes might seem insignificant, but it's enough to reset your entire state of mind. The reason this method works so effectively is that the brain responds to where you place your attention. When you consciously redirect your thoughts toward the present moment and gratitude, your brain stops producing stress hormones like cortisol and starts releasing calming chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. You begin to feel lighter, more centered, and more in control. These small pauses, practiced throughout the day, can completely transform how you handle stress and overthinking. You can use the 2-minute reset anywhere, before an important meeting, during a stressful conversation, or when you wake up feeling overwhelmed. The key is to remember that peace is not found outside of you. It's created within you. Whenever life feels heavy, you always have this tool in your pocket. The world doesn't have to slow down for you to find calm. You just need to slow down for yourself. 2 minutes of presence can save you from hours of anxiety. 2 minutes of deep breathing can restore balance to a restless mind. 2 minutes of gratitude can remind you that you are capable, worthy, and safe. Over time, this simple reset becomes a habit, a natural way to anchor yourself in the middle of chaos. It teaches you that control doesn't come from overthinking every possibility. It comes from mastering your focus. When you learn to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, and to feel gratitude before worrying, you begin to live intentionally rather than reactively. That is the real power of the 2-minute reset. It's not about escaping your thoughts, but about meeting them with awareness and calm. So the next time your mind starts spinning with worry, remember this truth: you can change your state in just 2 minutes. Stop. Breathe, feel your heartbeat. Find something to be grateful for. In that brief pause, you reconnect with your power. You remind yourself that peace is not something you chase. It's something you choose. And the moment you choose it, even for 2 minutes, you break free from the grip of overthinking and return home to yourself. The present moment is where your true power lives. It is the only space in time where life is actually happening, yet it is the one place most people forget to be. The mind loves to wander. It races toward the future, worrying about what might happen, or drifts backward, replaying mistakes and regrets. Overthinking is born in these spaces between the past and the future, but peace is born only in the now. When you learn to bring your awareness back to the present, you begin to reclaim your energy, your focus, and your inner strength. The present moment is not just a pause in time, it is a doorway to clarity, freedom, and control over your thoughts. When you are fully in the present, your worries lose their power because anxiety cannot survive in the now. Anxiety lives in tomorrow. Depression lives in yesterday, but peace exists only in this very second. Think about it. Right now, in this exact breath, you are safe. The fears that consume you are not happening at this moment. They exist only as possibilities in your imagination. The more you anchor yourself in the present, the more you realize that life isn't something to chase. It's something to experience. The mind may tell you that you'll be happy when something happens, when you succeed, when you heal, when you have more. But the truth is that joy begins the moment you stop waiting and start living right now. The power of the present moment lies in awareness. When you pay attention to what is happening right in front of you, you become conscious of the little things you often overlook. The rhythm of your breath, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter, the way the air feels as you inhale. These details are small, yet they remind you that life is not a destination. It is a collection of moments unfolding one by one. Overthinking distracts you from them, convincing you that your answers are somewhere far ahead. But everything you need to make the next right choice is already here, in this moment, waiting for your attention. Being present doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities or pretending your problems don't exist. It means facing them one moment at a time. It means giving your full focus to what you can do right now instead of drowning in everything that could go wrong later. When you take life moment by moment, you realize that every problem becomes smaller, every fear becomes quieter, and every step becomes lighter. You cannot control tomorrow, but you can control this breath, this decision, this response. That is where your power lies. But at everything you need to make the next right choice is already here, in this moment, waiting for your attention. Being present doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities or pretending your problems don't exist. It means facing them one moment at a time. It means giving your full focus to what you can do right now, instead of drowning in everything that could go wrong later. When you take life moment by moment, you realize that every problem becomes smaller, every fear is quieter, and every step becomes lighter. You cannot control tomorrow, but you can control this breath. This decision, this response, that is where your power lies. The present moment also holds a unique kind of wisdom. When you are calm and fully aware, your intuition speaks more clearly. You begin to sense what feels right instead of forcing answers through endless thinking. Overthinking clouds your judgment, but presence clears it. In stillness, your inner voice becomes louder, and you realize that guidance has been within you all along. The more you practice returning to the present, the stronger that inner clarity becomes. You stop chasing control and start trusting the natural flow of life. Many people underestimate the strength that comes from simply being here. They believe that doing more, thinking more, or planning more will give them power. But true power is quiet. It's the ability to stay centered when everything around you feels uncertain. It's the calm breath before an important decision. It's the courage to respond with intention instead of reacting with fear. The present moment gives you that strength. It's a reset, a reminder that right now is enough. To live in the present, you must practice mindfulness. When your thoughts drift, gently bring them back to what is real in front of you. Feel your heartbeat, listen to your surroundings, and remind yourself, I am here, boss. This small habit changes everything. It doesn't erase challenges, but it changes how you face them, with focus instead of fear, with patience instead of panic. Every time you return to the present, you reclaim your energy from the past and your power from the future. The present moment is your power zone because it is the only place you can create, choose, and act. You can't change what's already happened, and you can't live what hasn't yet come. You only have now. And when you master the art of being here, fondly and gratefully, you discover that peace is not something you have to find. It's something you already carry within you. All you need to do is pause, breathe, and come back to this moment, because this is where your real life and your real power truly begins. Stillness brings clarity because the mind, when quiet, becomes a mirror that reflects truth. In a world that constantly demands motion, noise, and distraction, stillness is rare, and yet it is the one thing that can bring true understanding. When you slow down, even for a moment, you allow your thoughts to settle like dust in a calm room. What was once blurred becomes visible. The confusion that once felt heavy begins to fade, and suddenly you can see what really matters. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder, it comes from thinking less. It comes from allowing silence to do what noise never can. Restore peace and direction within you. Overthinking clouds the mind because it never stops moving. It's like stirring muddy water and expecting to see your reflection. The more you stir, the less you see. Stillness, however, is the opposite. When you pause, when you stop reacting, and when you simply breathe, the mud settles. The water becomes clear again. You can finally see the truth that was always there beneath the chaos. Stillness is not the absence of thought. It's the awareness behind it. It's that quiet space where intuition speaks, where solutions appear naturally, and where peace feels possible again. We live in a world that celebrates being busy. People often confuse movement with progress and noise with purpose. But real progress doesn't happen in chaos. It happens in clarity. You cannot hear your inner wisdom if your mind is constantly shouting over it. The more you rush, the more mistakes you make. The more you react, the less you understand. Stillness gives you the power to respond instead of react. It allows you to step back, to breathe, and to choose with awareness rather than impulse. It's in the pauses between action that your best decisions are born. When life feels overwhelming, the greatest gift you can give yourself is stillness. You don't have to escape to a mountain or meditate for hours. All it takes is a moment. A few deep breaths, a quiet corner, or a simple pause before you speak or decide. In that pause, you give yourself permission to rest your mind. You begin to notice your own thoughts instead of being controlled by them. You begin to feel your emotions instead of being drowned by them. This is the power of stillness. It restores control, balance, and awareness. It helps you see situations not through the lens of panic, but through the clarity of calm. Stillness also connects you to your intuition, the quiet inner voice that always knows what's right for you. When the mind is loud, that voice gets lost. But when the mind is still, it begins to speak clearly. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It guides you gently toward peace, purpose, and understanding. Most people never hear that voice because they are too busy trying to fix everything through constant thinking. But intuition doesn't live in the noise. It lives in the silence between thoughts. The more you practice stillness, the more you learn to trust it. Clarity is not something you find outside yourself. It's something you uncover within. The answers you seek, the direction you crave, the peace you desire, they all rise naturally when your mind is calm. Stillness gives you perspective. It allows you to see that some problems aren't as big as they seemed, and that some worries were never yours to carry. When you stop chasing control and simply observe, life begins to make sense again. In moments of stillness, your breath slows, your body relaxes, and your thoughts become lighter. You begin to realize that peace is not found in doing more, but in being more present. It's not about achieving silence around you, but silence within you. Even if the world outside is chaotic, you can choose to be calm inside. That is your power. Stillness is not weakness. It is wisdom. It teaches patience, strengthens focus, and deepens understanding. When you embrace stillness, you are no longer reacting to life. You are consciously creating it. The more you practice stillness, the stronger your clarity becomes. You start to see what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You stop chasing every thought and begin to lead your mind instead of being led by it. Remember this. Clarity is not born in the noise of the mind, but in the silence of the soul. Stillness brings that silence. It brings focus where there was confusion, peace where there was panic, and light where there was doubt. So when everything feels overwhelming, stop, breathe, be still. Let your thoughts settle and allow clarity to rise naturally. Because in the quiet moments of stillness, you don't lose yourself. You finally find yourself. Awareness is the first step toward transformation, but awareness without action changes nothing. You can understand your thoughts, recognize your patterns, and even know why you overthink, but until you act on that awareness, your life will stay the same. Awareness is the light that shows you the way, but action is the step that moves you forward. Too many people get stuck in the knowing stage. They understand what's wrong, but never do anything about it. Real growth happens when awareness becomes movement, when knowledge becomes courage, and when understanding becomes decision. When you become aware of your overthinking, you start to see how much energy you waste on imagined problems. You begin to notice how your thoughts loop around fears, doubts, and possibilities that may never happen. This awareness is powerful because it gives you a choice. You can continue feeding those thoughts, or you can interrupt the pattern and choose something new. The key is to move from awareness to conscious action. Instead of saying, I'm overthinking again, you can say, I'm choosing to redirect my focus. That shift, simple as it seems, is where freedom begins. Action doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be deliberate. Sometimes it's as small as taking a breath before you respond. Sometimes it's writing down your thoughts to separate what's real from what's imagined. And sometimes it's walking away from the mental spiral and doing something physical. Taking a walk, calling a friend, or simply grounding yourself in the present moment. Each small action tells your mind that you are in control, not your overthinking. It's a message that says, I hear you, but I choose peace. Over time, these small decisions build strength. They teach your brain to trust calm more than chaos, clarity more than confusion. When you act on your awareness, you also build self-respect. You prove to yourself that you can rise above the noise in your head. You're no longer a victim of your thoughts. You're the leader of them. This shift creates confidence, and confidence breaks the cycle of doubt that fuels overthinking. Every time you take action, even when it's uncomfortable, you remind yourself that progress matters more than perfection. You stop waiting for the perfect moment to feel calm and instead create that calm through your choices. The truth is, awareness without action often becomes another form of overthinking. You can analyze, reflect, and plan forever, but until you move, nothing changes. The moment you take even one small step, momentum begins. Action cuts through the fog of hesitation. It grounds you in reality, where problems can be solved, rather than in imagination, where they only grow. The energy you once wasted on worrying starts to work for you. You become a creator instead of a worrier, a doer instead of a doubter. Turning awareness into action also means choosing progress over comfort. Awareness can make you realize what's holding you back: fear, doubt, or old habits. But taking action requires courage. You may not feel ready, and that's okay. Growth doesn't wait for perfect timing. It starts when you decide to begin. Even the smallest action, a decision, a breath, a shift in focus, can open a new path. Consistency matters more than intensity. Every time you act with awareness, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of change. When you stop overthinking and start acting, life begins to open up. You experience clarity, confidence, and calm, not because your mind is empty, but because your focus is clear. You start seeing that most of your fears never become reality, and even when challenges come, you handle them with strength instead of stress. That's because action teaches resilience. It reminds you that you can handle whatever happens. Overthinking imagines problems, but action solves them. In the end, awareness is the seed, and action is the sunlight that helps it grow. One without the other is incomplete. So when you catch yourself lost in thought, pause, breathe, and take one small action. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Do the thing you're afraid to do. Speak the truth you've been holding back. Take the step you've been avoiding. Every action you take breaks the habit of hesitation and builds the habit of confidence. Remember, overthinking will always try to trap you in endless questions. Action is what frees you. Awareness shows you where you are, but action takes you where you want to go. When you live from that balance, clear awareness and brave action, you stop being controlled by your thoughts and start shaping your reality. The mind may whisper doubts, but your movement speaks louder. Awareness lights the path, but action is the courage that walks it. In the end, the secret to stopping overthinking is not hidden in some complicated method or distant wisdom. It's already within you. Every thought, every moment of doubt, every burst of anxiety you experience is not your enemy. It's a signal guiding you back to awareness. The mind's job is to think, but your power lies in choosing which thoughts to believe and which to release. When you understand this truth, you realize that peace is not something you chase, it's something you allow. Overthinking thrives in fear and uncertainty, but the moment you bring presence and clarity into your awareness, it begins to lose its grip. You are not your thoughts, you are the observer of them. When you learn to pause, breathe, and ground yourself in the now, your overthinking mind becomes quiet. It's not about silencing your mind forever. It's about mastering it. You learn to hear the noise but not be shaken by it, to face your emotions without being ruled by them. Each of the key lessons leads you to this one truth. Awareness without action is incomplete, but awareness with courage creates transformation. When you notice your thoughts spinning out of control, stop and take one small, conscious action. Redirect your focus, move your body, or shift your breath. Each time you do, you reclaim your power. Stillness brings clarity. Clarity leads to confidence, and confidence replaces chaos. You were never meant to live trapped inside your thoughts. You were meant to experience life with openness, peace, and purpose. Overthinking steals your present moment, but awareness brings it back. You don't need to control every outcome. You just need to trust yourself enough to move through uncertainty with calm strength. So, the next time your mind begins to spiral, remember this simple truth. Peace begins the moment you stop arguing with your thoughts. You don't have to figure everything out. You just have to return to the present and choose one small, peaceful step forward. Your thoughts don't define you, your choices do. You have the power to stop overthinking, not by escaping your mind, but by mastering it. Every breath, every pause, every moment of stillness is a chance to reset. When awareness turns into action, confusion turns into clarity, and fear transforms into freedom. And that is how you stop overthinking. Not someday, not later, but instantly, in this very moment, by remembering that the power to calm your mind has always been yours.